Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's reported that on July 29th, 2016, former NFL player Antonio Armstrong and his wife were murdered in their Houston home. The place they died, the city of Houston, is suspicious because that city is hosting the upcoming Super Bowl for the season that's about to get underway. If you're new to my channel, I show how celebrities are often murdered by a certain code of numbers, and the reporting for their causes of death is often fictitious. In this case, they're saying the son killed his mother and father. And if this is true, that the son is responsible for the murder, I am convinced that there's something very sinister going on, and somehow this child was gotten to commit this act. It's also entirely possible that he's not responsible for the murder and is being framed and wrongly jailed. It's said that he's right now in juvenile detention for the murder of his parents. What I do know is that throughout history, men have been killed by a certain code of numbers, and chiefly that number is 44. I have an older video on the death of Marvin Gaye, who was murdered on the last day of being 44. His death is blamed on his father. And I suspect that it's the same type of thing. If the father really did murder his son, in that case Marvin Gaye, somehow somebody got to him. There was some pressure to do it. Perhaps there's some sort of drugging going on. There's something going on because all of these people die by this same number code. And what it shows me is who is truly responsible. And it is the Freemasons, it is the Zionists in high places who control the media, who control these record labels, Marvin Gaye, famous singer, who control these professional sports leagues. In this case, we're talking about the death of an NFL former player for the Miami Dolphins, dead in Houston, where the upcoming Super Bowl is. Let's look at the numbers on this death and what stands out. If you're new to my channel, I talk about the killing of young black men by the number 213. This is a number that comes up in rap songs a lot because it's the Los Angeles area code, but it's also a number very much connected to the deaths of many young black men. The most famous of all that I'm aware of is Tupac Shakur, who died 213 days after releasing the album All Eyes on Me on February 13th, or 2/13, the 44th day of the year, the day known as Lupercalia. This man, his name was Antonio Armstrong, which has gematria of 213. In recent weeks, I've talked about the death of Tupac Shakur, Len Bias, Reggie Lewis, Moses Malone, and more by this same number code. That supposed shooting in Baton Rouge by the young black man against police, a staged propaganda story, completely coded with this number 213. He ended up dead as well. Another young black man dead by the number 213. Right now we see this number coded into the motto, hands up, don't shoot, which is a motto that has been born out of all these contrived race war shootings in the media. All of these stories that you've heard about, the shooting of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, the hanging of Sandy Bland, Freddie Gray, all these stories are fictitious. It's not to say that cops don't discriminate, get away with murder. What it is to say is that what's in the media is meant to provoke, it's meant to divide, it's part of a race war. All of these stories are contrived narratives. If you're new to my channel, I'm showing how the world of professional sports is rigged by the numbers, how news is contrived by the numbers, and how the people who participate within these things are often murdered at the end of their lives by the numbers. Freemasonry. They operate by this code. 213 is also coded into Black History Month, February, the only month with a 42 gematria, the same number coded on black Americans all throughout history. This young man, Antonio Armstrong, has passed at age 42. So Black History Month, 213, February 42. The name kill, or the word kill, equals 44. Just like the 44th day of the year is Lupercalia, Lupercalia equals 44. So does the name Armstrong. So this guy has some deadly numbers coded on him. Remember, February 13th, 2/13 is the 44th day of the year. He was born in Houston, Texas. He died in Houston, Texas. We'll talk about what's significant from his birthday to his death. His full name is Antonio Donnell Armstrong, which in Pythagorean gematria sums to 118. 118, a number very much connected to death. This number was coded into Vanity's death. In February, I decoded Vanity and Prince, and I said Prince better watch out. He had the number 118 coded on him, plus more. Prince ended up dying by the numbers. A lot of celebrities dying by the numbers in recent times. His date of birth and his date of death, very similar numerology. Life lesson numbers of 45 for the date of birth and date of death. He played for Miami. Miami's hosted more Super Bowls than any other state. There's probably more to the riddle that I'm not seeing right now. But I do know it is beyond coincidence that he died on and was born on a date with this same numerology. 45, also 27. 27, a number often connected to death. His date of birth, the date of 98 numerology as well. The NFL season begins September 8th this year. His date of death, also a date with 52 numerology, the number of prophecy. Perhaps later in the year, we'll see what's going on. Maybe the Miami Dolphins will have a better year than expected. Perhaps the Miami Dolphins will make it to Super Bowl 52. I don't know, but when these people are killed, riddles are left within their deaths that are tributes to future things to come. So a little bit of speculation. He played college ball for the Texas Aggies. Maybe there's something in the history of the college program I'm overlooking. College versus the Miami team, the Hurricanes. Something there. From the date of his death to what would have been his upcoming 43rd birthday is 79 days. The word murder equals 79. So does the word champion. And this death very well could be a ritual sacrifice for a championship to come. It's also 11 weeks and 2 days. Houston equals 112. We've been talking a lot about that number. Prince died on the 112th day of the year. Houston hosting the upcoming Super Bowl. They mention he's a linebacker. Linebacker has gematria 44. Number of linebackers in the history of the NFL have been sacrificed by the numbers for championships. See my work on Derek Thomas. After this, I'm going to put out a video on the death of this young man right here, Javon Belcher, another one who died by this same number code. That'll be the next video. They say the son's 16 years old. On the same day this news emerged that he died was also the story out of Texas about a hot air balloon crashing with 16 people in it, which is more people than I know can fit in any hot air balloon. And I'm pretty sure that load or that story is a load of hot air propaganda. But I do find it interesting that we have a 16-year-old son killing and 16 dead in a hot air balloon, both out of the state of Texas in the same day in the year 2016. Remember, when you write out 16 in gematria, it has interesting connections. 33, 42, 96, the father dead at age 42. Freemason 42, Zionism 42, February 42, the most hateful word for black Americans 42. Moses Malone died at age 60. First NBA player drafted out of high school to the pros. He was drafted by Utah. 213 days later, after the death of Moses Malone, who played the majority of his career with Philadelphia, Kobe Bryant finished his career with 60 points against Utah. Kobe out of high school, finishes his game against Utah, grew up in Philadelphia. Moses Malone parallels. Moses Malone dead 213 days earlier at the age of 60. Kobe finishes with 60 points, also a number coded into the most hateful word for black Americans. If you haven't seen my work on Moses Malone and Kobe Bryant's 60-point game, there's a whole lot more to the story. They were calling it Black Mamba Day, which in gematria also summed to 213 days after the death of Moses Malone. That's the point also to realize. These people are ritually sacrificed for more than just sports championships. It appears Moses Malone was literally sacrificed at age 60 for the end of Kobe Bryant's career. That's how scripted the league is. If you didn't watch Kobe's final game, the Utah Jazz didn't score a single point in the final 5 minutes of the game. Also, Kobe could bring him back at the end and score his 60th point to give him the lead. All a joke. Actually, it was Kobe's 58th point that gave him the lead. Los Angeles Lakers equals 58. Purple Rain equals 58. Kobe retired on a date with 58 numerology. Freemasonry equals 58. But then Kobe would score 2 more, making it 60. The name of the mother who was killed is Dawn Armstrong. And what I noticed is from February 13th, 213, to July 29th is 167 days. Just like the name Dawn Armstrong, the name of the mother who was murdered. 167 is the 39th prime number. He played for the Aggies. Aggies has gematria of 39. 39, a special number to the gang, number of books in the Old Testament that the Zionists go by. Freemasons do all their coding from the Bible. The name of the mother, the small way, Dawn Armstrong, also sums to 59. Kill in Jewish gematria equals 59. This is a number stamped all over black people. The two numbers stamped throughout history on black people are 42, which Antonio Armstrong is the age he died at, and then 59, this number coded into the mother's name. Negro 59, slave 59, blues 59. Here's the picture of Antonio and Dawn, supposedly murdered. You know, Truth Seeker, the other thing that's possible here is these stories are contrived just for the sake of putting out another tragedy to dampen people's mood, as the media loves to do. You know, think about how negative our media is, always centered around fear and death. It's possible that for whatever reason, these families are faking these deaths, participating in these scenarios to, I don't know. It doesn't seem like these people would have to escape the limelight here, right? You know, people are always telling me that I'm wrong, that these people aren't really dying, their deaths are being faked. And I'm open to that possibility, but how do you explain this? This is a guy who's retired, he wasn't that big of a name in the NFL. To me, it seems that these people truly are picked for their numbers as a ritual sacrifice by an ongoing code. I mean, I just make that point for the people who always comment the same thing. So many people get mad at me for saying these people are really dying and I need to expose that it's all fake. And the thing is I don't know. All I can see is the ongoing pattern of all these people dying by the same numbers for the same ritualistic purposes, and that needs to be stopped. Whether they're faked or real, it needs to be stopped. And if it is real, people need to not discount that by saying they just know everything's fake, because I don't see the evidence that all these deaths are fake. Something tells me these people really are murdered. And perhaps this young man has been framed and is now in a jail cell where he might spend the rest of his life while the real tyrants get away with it. You know, if somebody knows that this really happened and somebody knows this young man, you know, somebody needs to talk to him, find out what's really going on. I know it's not that kid. That kid's not who's responsible for this. And if he really is in a jail cell, he needs to be released. The real tyrants need to be in there. The people who keep killing all these people by the numbers. So drafted by the 49ers, ended up playing with the Dolphins after getting released. 49ers hosted last year's Super Bowl. From the date of his death until the upcoming Super Bowl in Houston's 191 days. That's the 43rd prime number. Champion the small way equals 43. He died 79 days before his 43rd birthday. Champion the big way, 79. Something tells me his death is somehow connected to who's going to be in the upcoming Super Bowl or the college championship. And I don't follow college football enough to know the Aggies' history and their rivalries. Maybe somebody knows they had a big game against Miami. There's more to this riddle, and I'm hoping somebody who watches this video can help me figure it out. And further, I'm helping more people help spread this knowledge so we can stop this killing by the numbers from happening. So right now, as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to start working on the death of Javon Belcher. This one is a lot more clear-cut, and I'll also show the parallels between his death and Derek Thomas, two Chiefs who were sacrificed for Super Bowls. Until next time, Truth Seekers.